everybody. Today is something different that I thought we'd talk about in our show. Today, we're going to talk about an old friend of ours that is really family. He's somebody that we knew many years ago. And his name was Bill Hoist. Bill Hoist was a teacher, so we can talk about him and his impact on schools and on education and our lives. Bill Hoist passed away many years ago in 2005,
Mm.
and this uh, this was a great shock. You know, when somebody passes away um, prematurely, we can talk about that as a shock. But for me, when Bill died, Jacob, it's something that still resonates. Like we think there's so much for this man to accomplish. And so there's an article that I wanted to talk about, and we'll link it in the description about Bill and his impact in the classroom. And before we talk about that, I want to just talk about him as a man. So the reason why we kind of are connected to him through family is that um, our mother is married to David Valdez, and David's sister was married to Bill. And so we knew him through that familial context. And so I just really appreciated him because even as little kids, and that's how we were introduced to him, we were maybe 10, 11, 12, or younger. He just took us seriously. And to a 9-year old, 10-year old, sometimes adults just kind of, brush you off, but he was always connected to us. I remember his roughhousing ways, and he would just wrestle with us. So when I became an adult, I did that with my nephews. I throw them across the room and just slap them around. Maybe not slap them, but I remember I was roughhoused. There's a kind of seriousness to an adult who does that. There's a kind of taking them serious and not just ignoring them. Uh, I also just remembered as I became an adult how he gave me advice as a teacher. And man, this guy was just a real man, just a good person. Um, what is your take on Bill Hoist, Jacob?
Yeah, that was a shock because Bill was such a bigger than life type of man. He he lived life, man. I mean, he loved his children, loved his family, he loved his God. I had the opportunity to visit Jefferson High School where he taught just a few years after he passed because I was involved with helping their program there for um, academies. They were starting an academy there, and I'm not sure if it was a technology academy but it was an academy. And I went and I talked to the teachers, and so I talked to them and I said, "Hey, do you guys remember Bill Hoyce?" And oh my gosh, the cool thing is that almost all of them who had been there for a while just had the nicest things to say about him, and they couldn't believe I was related through marriage. And I said, "Yeah, he was special." And I will share a story about Bill. You mentioned the wrestling, which he did with us, and he spent time with us, talked to us. I remember in high school that a couple times he did this. He actually drove me to my prom, and he got himself into he wore a the sh the not chaperones, the the people who drive the car. What do you call them? Uh, Chaperone, right? And so he got in and he had his hat on, and he took us
Chauffeur.
chauffeur. I can't remember the word. He chauffeured us, and so he took us, and then he played the part the whole time. He opening doors, yes sir, no sir, and then he had me do that once for Chris, I think twice for Chris on his like homecomings and maybe a prom as well, and where I would be stuck in this hill somewhere, and he goes, Jacob, be here, have some food, like I had some snacks, little hors d'oeuvres, and so he drove up to this hill in Glendora, not too far from where we used to live. And I got out of the shadows and I came into the car and I served them, and never breaking character, being a servant there, and serving them their little hors d'oeuvres. And I remember Chris's date was just like trying to get me out of character, but nice because Bill told me don't stay in character, and he did that. I mean, he spent time with us even after we were little kids. He wanted to do that because I think maybe someone did that for him, or he wanted to do it. I can't remember what he told us, but that And those are great memories, Ruben. I think I shared that with his children a couple of times just because it meant something to me. And then, like you shared, talking about teaching, I was always interested in talking to him about what he was doing. And he went into counseling for a while, which was really cool. But then he went back into the classroom. But he had such a big influence on so many people's lives. I mean, his funeral was attended by hundreds and hundreds of people. It was at Lake Avenue Church, and it was a really impressive time of people coming together and sharing their love for him, and so many stories about how he affected them. And I'm so glad we were part of that, and we were able to be affected by him as a man who taught never, like you said, never talked down to us.
Yes, it's that theme of taking children seriously and not, okay, you sit at the little boys table, little children's table, but to talk to them and to listen. And I really appreciate that about Bill, and I still think about him, and how you question and you wonder why did he leave so early, but in this article, it also mentioned, as you said, you talked about the funeral and how many people came, how many former students. So it's worth reading for that. But there's a couple of little moments here that I thought were nice. Um, there was a quote here about the best teachers not only fill a student's head with knowledge, but awaken a wish to learn and offer visions of possibilities beyond school, family, and the neighborhood. And that is true. That is important. And at one point, it mentions from the hilltop where the teacher is buried, most of Los Angeles is visible. And there's a quote here um, from one of his former students that says, Mr. Hoist always taught us that we're responsible for this city. Now it's up to us. And I really think that's a powerful legacy that he left. So it made me want to do that. So the inspiration from Mr. Hoist lives on, and I want to be planting those type of seeds in my students. And it's inspiring what this man has done. I want to be that type of man.
Yeah, I can I say one last thing? I agree with you, Ruben. I feel like he is such a good example of what a good man is, and with family and work, and able to balance that. And if you talk to his children, you will see that he still lives on, man. Because these kids are not kids anymore; they're adults, but they are living full lives and they're successful. But you could tell that they're pretty well rounded, and they were mentored by a good man, and I'm not surprised that they're doing well.
Very good. Um, well, we will link that article to uh, to this video. At the music center many years ago, I was um, working at the Walt Disney Hall, and one of the ticket takers that I worked with, she had mentioned she went to Jefferson High School, and so I said, "Did you know Bill Hoist?" And she goes, "He, Mr. Hoist, was my math teacher, and he was the best math teacher and the best teacher I've ever had." And I thought, that was a great little legacy, and I
Yeah.
love that she said that. So thank you very much, everybody, and we'll catch you next time.